Hello, and welcome to Something to Talk About. I love the happy bubbles. I'm sorry, I just really get into the open. Thank you for tuning in this evening. And before you meet my wonderful guest, whom you will meet momentarily, but you've already met her because she's already been on the show, you can give us a call this evening. We are live. You can give us a call at 781-270-9199. Someday I will learn that number. Or you could always email me at talk@bcattv.org. Yes. I would like to thank the crew for this evening. Chris Flaherty, who is a staff member here, who recently celebrated a birthday. So I brought him a cake, but I'm not going to sing because he's going to want to have another birthday. And if I sing, that's probably not going to happen. And so happy birthday, Chris. And thank you, Jolie, for also coming in and giving up your Wednesday evening. I'm glad you finished your homework, and I hope you have a wonderful school vacation next week. And last but definitely not least, I would like to thank my husband, Paul, for staying home for Daddy date night. Had to do a little shuffling around tonight, but I think we managed to get everyone happy and home safely. So thank you, Paul. And now, I think all the housekeeping is aside, I would like to introduce my wonderful guest. We have Marge McDonald, who is, I forget your director? Executive director. Director of Council on Aging. So you've already been on the show a couple of times, but I miss you so much. So thank you for coming back. And there's been a lot of happenings since, I think it was 2016 that you were last on the show.
Yeah, not that long ago, but a lot has happened.
A lot has happened. Because I think you were only thinking about getting renovations last time you were here.
I think we were about to start.
I think you were about to start and you were deciding carpet patterns or something like that. Carpet color.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, we will talk more about that. But I know most of Burlington knows you in some way, shape, or form. But can you give us, in a nutshell, where you grew up and how you came to Burlington and how you got involved in the Council on Aging?
So I grew up next door in Lexington.
Perfect.
And when I say next door, I grew up less than a mile from the town line. So
understandable.
Yeah. My
house is on the Billerica line, so you know my next door neighbor is in Billerica.
I grew up wading in the Vine Brook, picking up salamanders from under rocks, and walking in the pits behind the bike path, and So yeah,
real outdoorsy type.
Not necessarily, but
well, you're playing with salamanders.
Back in the day,
before
technology, that was the normal thing to do. But yeah, so I was always like right on the Burlington line.
Oh, okay.
As a teenager, worked at Burger King and then McDonald's, and I walked because I was so close. I didn't have a car.
Yeah, teenagers didn't normally.
No, we didn't drive
have
back then.
Cars.
No, we drove or we walked.
Well, yeah, drive, but you don't have your own car.
Yeah, I had my bike or I got to walk. So anyway, so yeah, I met a lot of people from Burlington through working at Burger King. But that was kind of it. And then I got married, and we actually looked in Burlington. It was just out of our reach. Just out.
Now it's not just out, it's just out.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. So I got married, and I hadn't finished school, so after I had my daughter, I went back to school. And
what were you studying?
I was sociology when I first started.
Okay.
And then I didn't really like the program, so I dropped out of school for a while and did some corporate, secretarial, did some IT stuff, and wasn't overly fond, and got laid off twice.
Darn.
Yeah, one of the jobs was in interior design.
Really?
Which I loved.
Yeah.
But when that recession hit, I was one of the first people. I didn't even know a recession was coming, and and
low
work
man
starts
on the
to dry
totem
up.
pole. Bye-bye.
Yeah. So I'm like, after my daughter was born, I went back to school. I'm like, what do I want to do? And I knew I wanted to be a social worker from when I was a teenager.
Okay.
Still wanted to do that. Still wanted to help people. Still wanted to work with people. But I didn't want a job that was going to have the same uncomfortableness, that you were always going to be worrying about whether you had job security.
Yeah.
Or, So
Because a lot of times the social services are the first to
yes, yeah,
get cut. Okay.
yeah, because people think that help is not important.
Yeah.
So my thought was, how do I protect myself from getting laid off? And I thought, seniors, growing population,
There you go. Job security.
job security. The really good news was, even though the decision to work with seniors was purely from an economic point of view,
Okay.
when I started doing my internships, because I went to Leslie,
Okay.
and I had to do 3 internships.
Okay.
I loved it.
Oh, sweet.
I loved working with them. My first internship was with the North Cambridge Senior Center.
Okay.
I had a blast. I helped serve meals, and I had to do some papers. So I took, so I went to the homes of a couple of the seniors and asked,
Okay.
and interviewed them. I taught a quilting class,
Ooh.
and a couple of the seniors had Alzheimer's, so I really had to work really closely with them.
Okay.
And I had a blast. And then I went, the COA director, the Council on Aging director, asked me if I wanted to come and work at the COA itself, not just the branch senior center. They were doing, they were kicking off, and
Was this in Cambridge still?
Mhm.
Okay.
Kendall Square. The irony here is, it was kicking off their transportation project. COA buses and getting
Okay.
seniors around. I'm like, little did I know. So I go around and educate the seniors in the housing complexes and places they gathered about what the
Okay.
system was going to look like. I don't even remember now at this point.
Okay.
It was 30 years, 25 years ago. So
Few years
yeah.
ago.
And then I went to Cambridge Somerville Elder Services and did case management,
Oh, okay.
which I liked.
Okay.
But I really, really liked being at the Council on Aging at the Senior Center. That was just so much fun. It's not as much fun as it was. A little more work to it than when I was an intern.
Well, yeah, intern versus director,
But I have days that are fantastic.
Yeah.
And I never have a really horrendous day. I have never woken up in the 18 years I've been in Burlington at the Council on Aging.
And that lot, wow.
Yes. I have never once woken up and said, I don't want to go to work. I might say I'm too tired to go to work. I really don't feel like going, but I've never said I don't want to go to work, which is
That's
huge.
really,
and I know
yeah.
that's a rarity.
That is really special. That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is going on? Okay, I mentioned in our little introduction that the last time you were here, you were about to launch into this major renovation. Well, not you personally, but
It felt that way.
yeah, the center was going under renovation.
It was rough,
So, yeah.
but we got through it. A lot of time spent in construction meetings. Learned a lot that way.
Okay.
I learned I never want to be in construction.
Okay.
That I did choose the right
So much
career.
for the interior design.
I don't mind decorating.
Oh, okay.
Decorating's great.
Okay.
It's the construction part of it. You sit in these meetings and you go over every single point, every single meeting until it's completed and you can cross it off the list.
Okay.
So
Until you can recite the blueprints in your sleep.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And some days you're in this really cold trailer.
Ugh.
It was just, it was not fun. And we had to move a lot, and I wasn't actually feeling very well, which didn't help. I was sick. And it was not the best of times. But in the end, my interior design skills came into play.
Excellent.
And I'm really fond of the paint colors that I picked.
Oh, good.
And what we did was we took a really vibrant, cheerful, happy green, minty color.
Okay.
And the walls in the COA, the hallway walls in the COA
Okay.
are this light minty green. And veterans and Board of Health, which are still in the building with us, are
Okay.
blue. They're a light blue.
Okay.
So they're light, they're cheerful. It's not this, drastic, horrible change in color that's
Okay.
jarring, but it's enough for a senior for wayfaring.
Oh, okay.
So if they're trying to find something, they're not really sure,
follow the
green,
follow
line.
the green stripe.
And there's green tiles on the floor and green on the walls, and then the other
So
two.
all those really intense construction meetings paid off because you got your green tiles.
Yes, and they did it wrong, and they had to fix it.
Oh.
Well, there's a fire door, and it's not in the right spot for where we end and Board of Health starts. But they fixed it for us. So
Okay,
we're good.
well, that's
We're
good.
good. But we have more space. We have an activity room.
Oh, cool.
We have 2 fitness rooms instead of 1, which is a
Wow.
little weird, but we didn't have,
Okay.
there was nowhere to put it. There wasn't a place,
Okay.
a room that ended up being big enough for that dedicated type of usage.
Okay.
And we've got 2 conference rooms now. We didn't even have 1 conference room before.
Wow.
The funny thing is, we're already outgrowing it.
Oh, no.
A year and a half later.
It's been that long?
Yeah.
Wow.
But completely worth it. I mean, you're going to fill the space you have. That's
yeah.
just what's going to
Buy a
happen.
bigger house, you get more stuff, and you fill it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, with all of these renovations, have you noticed more seniors taking advantage of your services?
Yeah, I just did the annual report, and I was looking at the numbers from last year,
Uh-huh.
and probably 50% more people
Wow.
than we had before the renovations and the year before.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be cool, because now you'll have the data to back up your addition.
Yeah.
Or your expansion.
Yeah.
So, wow.
And I'm sure we could
Have you also
have even more if we.
introduced new programs as well? So, what are some of the new programs?
The one that we're most excited about is Memory Cafe.
Okay. Is that for individuals with memory?
Yes, with cognitive
Issues?
issues and their
Okay.
care partners. So you
And their care-
Yeah,
okay.
so you come together, and we have activities that we would consider fail-safe, so
Okay.
that somebody who's got some cognitive issues can't fail whatever the activity is.
Okay.
Drumming, singing. Although if it was me, that'd be a failure. But
That's where the drumming part comes in,
exactly. We had somebody come in with puppets. Sometimes it's entertainment. Sometimes it's interactive.
Okay.
We haven't done an art project yet. Those make us a little nervous just because you could fail at that. I mean, it's very hard
Okay.
not to fail at an art project. And Leahy sponsors it.
Oh, cool.
Yes. Thank you, Leahy. They sponsor so much of our stuff. It's amazing. And we also get to have lunch. So we have sandwiches, fingers
Okay.
sandwiches, and desserts brought in from Lacash's.
Ooh, excellent.
We do that monthly.
So that's okay. That's once a
So
month.
we
right?
basically have 15 couples that are able to partake, because it's
Okay.
30 people. Any more than that, it gets to be very
A little crowded.
overwhelming. Yeah. And especially if someone with cognitive issues is having trouble with crowds, then you really,
Oh, yeah.
we have a,
No, backing up for that memory cafe. Is there a wait list for that? Oh, wow.
we have a wait list every month.
Oh, okay.
Very popular. This,
Is it the same group of people, or do you try rotating it, or is it a first
it's
come,
first
first
come,
serve?
first serve.
Okay.
But we try to get the people that are not getting in,
Okay.
1 month into the next. The Executive Office of Elder Affairs, their goal is to have all 351 towns have a memory cafe.
Oh, wow.
Not necessarily in the Council on Aging, because they don't all have senior centers,
Right.
but
Okay.
a library or
Wow.
somewhere, a restaurant.
Now, is there like a format that they provide to you for what to do, or do they just say, here, do this
There's
memory
not a
cafe?
specific format, but there's
Okay.
suggestions
Oh, okay.
of how to do things. And, having a fail-safe activity is one. There's best practices.
Oh, okay.
The first memory cafe happened in a restaurant,
Oh,
so it could be a restaurant.
okay.
I think most of them are going to be senior centers, just because that's where the expertise is.
Yeah.
But the woman who came up with the idea of the memory cafe didn't work in a senior center, so she had to find some place
Oh.
where she could do it.
Where did it start?
Beth Salzberg, I thought I was going to forget her name for a second, out of Jewish family,
Okay.
started it. So kind of in the Boston.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wasn't sure if it was
And
like a
it's
Central Mass thing or a Cape
Nope.
thing.
Nope, and
Oh, okay.
it's becoming worldwide.
Wow.
And we have what we call the Percolator Cafe, so we get a newsletter every month, and there's meetings monthly
Okay.
that the two social workers that of the 3 outreach workers go to learn and get the best practices and get ideas from other people. And there's a lot of interaction between.
Yeah, the networking is
the networking
is a
is
good
huge,
opportunity. Yeah.
because you don't want to make mistakes if you can help it.
True. And you also don't want to have to reinvent the wheel either.
Right.
So,
The funny thing is when we started it,
Mhm.
and we went around to see some other cafes, we were told, don't worry if it starts slow, because they tend to start slow until people get the idea of it.
Okay.
No, sir.
Yeah, I kind of wish it did start
We
slow.
started with a rate. I think we actually started with a wait list,
Oh, wow.
pretty much, or was close to. I think it would be what we would now put as a wait list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Now, would there be the resources available to have it more than monthly so you could get more people
I'm
in?
sure
in a
if we
rotation?
asked for it, we could, but
Okay.
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, okay.
And it's probably 4 hours out of the day for all 3 outreach workers that day.
Okay.
Plus, you have to prepare for it.
Okay.
You have to find the activity
Okay.
person. So, yeah, I don't see us doing it twice a month.
Okay. I was just thinking, term A, group A
Yeah.
and group B, they do the same thing just on different weeks. But
Yeah, no. And we
Okay.
thought we did consider it for a short period of time until we realized how much work it would take to do
real
that.
short period of time.
Yeah, we're already short of time and short of space, so the last thing we need to do is,
Add more.
add more to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other new,
So
or even some of the favorites?
We have all sorts of fun things going on. We were having parties. We're having cultural things come in. We're having.
You're still doing the senior prom thing? When does that happen?
It's April 2nd.
It's coming up.
Yeah, looking for donations if anybody wants to donate.
What kind of donations are you looking for?
We're looking for cash.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it costs a little bit. It costs over $6,000 to put this on. So.
Wow.
And we don't charge the seniors the full price
Okay.
for it. And it's great. We have Brogan Photography comes in and takes pictures, and they print them on the premises.
Oh, wow.
So by the time the seniors leave the prom, they have their prom pictures.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That is really
it's
cool.
wonderful.
That's really
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And Leahy also is one of the sponsors for that. Say anything, almost anything. I'm going to say Leahy also sponsors. And actually also sponsored by Leahy. We have farmers market in the summer, spring, summer, really late. Actually, more like summer, fall.
Is that like just for the Council on Aging?
Just
or
for
is it-
it's free produce for the seniors.
Oh, okay. Because I know Burlington for a few years tried doing a farmer's market in front of the Council on Aging, in front of the senior center.
Yeah.
But that didn't
I
turn
think
out as
I
planned.
don't know.
So I wasn't
They
sure
moved
if-
it. Yeah, and I'm not sure
Okay.
all the details of what happened, but it seemed to be successful when it was right in front.
Okay.
And then the spot wasn't ideal because it was an ankle breaker. It was not
Well,
a
plus I
smooth-
think the construction decided to.
yeah,
start
but I mean
happening.
the lawn itself was not
Oh,
even, and so
yeah.
people were always complaining that they were twisting their ankles. And they moved it over to Grandview, and it wasn't very large, and they changed the day. And I think one of the successes for the earlier part of the day for the farmers market was bingo let out, and there was the farmers
instant.
market.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Oh.
80, 100 people coming out of,
Bingo. Do you still do bingo?
We still do bingo. We didn't do it for a long. We didn't do it during through renovations because we didn't have the big room and there's,
Space, yeah.
you've got 80 to 100 people. Where are you going to put them? And
some seniors take their bingo very
Yes, they do.
seriously.
And our volunteers who were doing bingo, running bingo, decided to resign as we were, they said they were getting up there in age. So
Okay.
they were done.
Okay.
So we're like, well, this is probably it. But everyone was like really disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
And Representative Gordon heard them. Because what do reps and senators do?
Okay.
They listen to their constituents. And
Good ones do anyway.
correct. And decided to do something about it.
Hmm.
So he asked me if he could get enough volunteers, could we continue to have bingo? And I'm like, Sure. So.
And you do.
Yep, they have, so Representative Gordon
Okay.
in his office, he's brought in, he'll bring in elected people, elected individuals, local, state. And then we have a DA, Marion Ryan's office.
Oh,
and she has come once. But she's also come to do presentations during the time. So, but she has showed up. Selectman Mike Runyon, and he has a team of folks that come. The Burlington Area Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, wow.
And we had the media folks. They're no longer doing it. But Congressman Seth Moulton's office now does it.
Okay, wow.
They just started doing it. So, yeah. So we have all of these like big wigs coming through through bingo, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm sure senior centers everywhere hate me right now, but kind of liking it.
They admire you.
Like, how can we make that happen? But it's I can't run bingo. There's money involved, and it's just and
there's a lot going on.
And in order to get the special permit to do it, the special license, you have to be 60.
Okay.
Because it's gambling. So there's all sorts of legal stuff. And I'm not 60 yet. I have a few years to go. So
plenty of time.
Yeah. So they're doing that. So bingo's here. I have an amazing volunteer who is, she worked at the Francis Wyman School in the library.
Oh.
Up until a few years ago.
Okay.
And when she stopped working, she was kind of like
bored.
Yeah, what do I do with myself? And so she was getting the newsletter because she was over 60, and she saw that we had a walking group. She's like, well, it's not at the senior center. I can go there and walk and have people to talk to.
Yeah.
So she starts walking with us, and we talk. She's not that much older than I am.
Okay.
She recently retired, so she worked for the town, so there was a lot to talk about. And we bonded, and so as we're talking, she starts coming up with all these ideas, and I'm like, well, you should come and do some of these ideas. And it took her a while to get to the senior center. It's hard, when you're
it's
who wants to go to the senior center and be with all those old people,
Although I do want to find out about age in a few minutes, but finish your story.
So she starts coming, and she does some activities, and she took over for one person who couldn't do, was Mahjong.
Okay.
She didn't know what she was doing, but, she's like, yeah, I'll do it. And the next thing you know, I'm just now consider her my activity coordinator.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. She just comes up with these great ideas. So she does, it's a sing-along, but we call it casual karaoke, so it's not confused with recreation sing-along.
Okay.
She does Wii bowling. She's got chess going. She's, she just does everything. She has her hands in everything. I mean, and it's just, we have puzzles. We always have a puzzle going.
Oh, yeah.
She does word searches, and she just started that last week, and putting them so that people can just take them and work their brain, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, just amazing ideas.
Excellent.
So more to come. More to come.
Perfect.
We have a job seekers group called 55 Plus Job Seekers.
Okay.
Which probably is going to lead right into your next
well,
question.
Yeah, I was actually wondering, everything that I've seen on your website is for,
60.
people ages 55 and up.
So,
and I'm getting real close to that.
Yeah, I'm
getting close.
March, April, May. Yeah, 3 months.
But who's counting?
So
how do you determine the age?
It's really 60 and over.
Oh, okay.
But we have a couple of programs that are 55 plus.
Okay.
Job Seekers being one of them. And Job Seekers is really a networking support group.
Okay.
For folks who are unemployed or underemployed.
Okay.
You get laid off in your 50s. It is really tough.
There's job discrimination.
Yes.
Actually now it's like 40.
Yeah.
It's starting.
You know, you're expensive, or people think you're expensive. Or
you're overqualified.
Overqualified, or if it's technology, you're underqualified. And it can be hard. And some people just they just want to change what they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult to do at that age. So this is about meeting people who can help kind of introduce you to other places where you could get a job.
Okay.
You know, how to do it. Because let's face it, looking for a job today is much different than it was 20 or 30 years ago.
Yes.
I don't think I could do it.
No.
So they teach folks, you know, how to do that.
Okay.
And, you know, it's
And
not
plus,
just
if you've been in one career for so long and then all of a sudden you have to change, whether you're changing your career or just changing your position, it's like, oh my gosh, I have to write a resume. I have no idea how to write a resume. I haven't written one in, you know, 30 years.
And it's not the same as it was 30 years ago either.
Exactly. I wouldn't know where to begin.
Yeah.
Wow. So what is that? Any other 55?
No, that's pretty much it. So recreation has with a 55 plus club.
Okay.
And that's a very active club. So everything's active. There's nothing. There's no real whist. They have whist, which is actually at the senior center. But it's golf and it's pickleball and tennis.
What is pickleball?
Pickleball.
Or should I not have asked that?
It's it's halfway between tennis and badminton, basically.
Oh, okay.
Or it's basically you have a racket and a net.
Oh, all right.
And a ball.
Okay.
A pickleball. I don't know. I've seen it played a couple of times. But it is all the rage.
I'm out of the loop.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just not cool. But no comment. Don't. Speaking of the rec department, you guys are still physically in the same building.
Yes.
Do you do a lot of overlap, crossover with them?
We don't really. There's two major differences. You pay for your activities at the rec and you don't at the senior center.
Okay.
For the most part. They do have activities for the seniors.
Okay.
There's some exercise classes and they have this sing-along, which is really a chorus. So they do have some stuff for the seniors, but there isn't a lot of, necessarily working together.
I'm just wondering, like other community partnerships that you might have, like Minuteman Services, is that, I know you explained it to me before, but that was 3-4 years ago. Is that like the umbrella of this area? What is Minuteman Senior Services?
They're a regional private agency.
Okay.
That services 16 cities and towns.
Okay.
They do the state home care. They do screenings for nursing homes. They do the home delivered meals, protective services. So for seniors in trouble, they work with them. So they're very regional.
Okay.
Like an umbrella, but they don't actually have anything over us.
Okay.
They get a lot of money from the state.
Okay.
But they're all private. So then they're called ASAPs, Aging Services Access Points.
Oh, okay.
And I think there's 27 of them. It changes.
Okay.
Because again, they're private. And they have contracts with the state, but they are their own boss. So every single one is very, very different than the other. And they have different services a lot of the times. I mean, the basic home care services are the same.
Okay.
But the side jobs that they do are different.
Okay. Now, one of the things that you mentioned was the food, the home. Is that the same as Meals on Wheels? Okay. Because I was looking at your website and you have something called, what is it called? Eating Together.
Yep, that is
home delivery program.
So Eating Together is the congregate. So it's the same food. It's the home delivered, but it's served at the senior center.
Oh, okay.
5 days a week.
I thought it was like a home delivery thing where.
Nope. It's so you eat at the center.
Okay.
And
So it's kind of like school lunch, but for seniors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. You know, a long time ago, when I was growing up, my grandmother lived in a senior community. And it was right across the street from an elementary school. And they allowed the seniors to go over and have the elementary school
that's
lunches.
Cool.
So, it wasn't a free program. It was, like $2, and the kids paid, whatever. But it was the same menu. They got to eat with the kids.
That's great.
So,
but talk about a great intergenerational program.
That was pretty fun.
Yeah.
But again, long time ago, galaxy far away. So, what are some of the home, we talked about now that you're in your new location. Well, it's not really a new location, but now that you have more space, you have a lot more resources available, you have a lot of new programs, new volunteers coming in. What are some of the home-based programs that Council on Aging provides?
So, our social workers provide most of whatever would be home-based.
Are they 3 full-time?
I have two and a half, basically. Two full-time and 1 part-time. They'll go to people's homes, help them with anything that we would also help them with at the senior center for social services. Applications for housing, fuel assistance, SNAP, which are the old food stamps. So we'll help them with any of that. If they have to fill out a mass health form, or they need help with their insurance. Brenda Pappas is also a Shine certified, so she can go out and do whatever the Shine counselors do.
So speaking of Shine certified, let's go into that.
Okay.
Actually, we can finish talking about home services. What is Shine?
Serving health information needs of everyone. Used to be elders, and now it's everyone.
Because we don't want to discriminate.
Well, there's a big difference though between what the seniors get and
elders
then what
and everybody. Everybody's kind
but
of.
But it's really meant for people who are disabled. So like you and I wouldn't go to a Shine counselor for help.
Okay.
They're not going to have any idea.
Yeah.
So, I think it was there were a couple things, but I think also one of the reasons they did everyone was just to make it bigger, because there's very little funding for it, and you want to make it more noticeable, more obvious.
Oh, okay.
At the same time, the ASAPs, several of the ASAPs became single access points for folks who are also under 60.
Oh, okay.
So Minuteman is one of those. So you could be 20 years old, you could be 100 years old.
Okay.
If you need services, you go through Minuteman, and they work with the under 60 community as well. And there's one individual specific agency that they work with for the disabled, developmentally disabled specifically. It's called ARC. Don't ask me what it stands for.
Okay.
And so that's, I think, as they were doing that agreement, that's when I think partially when Shine became for everyone.
Okay.
I think it was more than one thing that led to it, I believe. Don't quote me on it.
Okay. So, actually, I was thinking of something, and now I'm thinking of something else. So I think I'm just going to go back to my questions.
Before we get too confused.
Yeah, financial assistance. What are some of the things? What kinds of assistance are available? Is it like the fuel and the food?
Yeah, so we have the fuel, the food.
Where does all this money come from?
Federal and state.
Okay, so you're just kind of funneling it through and
helping with the applications. There's also, if somebody needs help, we'll help them access that through the People Helping People.
Oh, okay. I just thought of my question.
Okay.
When you were talking about your the social workers going and helping them with all of these, does the Council on Aging have a program for people thinking about downsizing, or people thinking about giving up their house and moving into an assisted living facility, or
so we run programs that we have real estate agents come in and talk, do presentations.
Do you find that that's a big need?
We get a decent crowd when we do that.
Okay.
And I don't know, I think they're thinking about it, but that leads to a whole nother thing. One of my day jobs now is I am on the Northwest Park Housing Committee, which is talking about
Okay.
the parameters that we're going to use to qualify people for the new apartment building that Nord Bloom wants to put up.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm out of touch. I didn't know he wanted to put up a new
Yep, they
building.
they want to put up a third building,
Oh, okay.
and we're going to get quite a few apartments.
Oh, good.
So, and I forgot why I brought that up. What was the question you just asked me?
Downsizing.
Downsizing.
And what kind of
So,
resources are available
One
for...
of the issues we run into is that, and I think most people know this, and you and I talked about it before we started the show. You can sell your house for quite a decent amount of money, and you can have a pretty rundown home that hasn't been maintained,
Right.
and still get $400,000 to $500,000 depending on the size of your home.
Right.
But where are you going?
Exactly.
You know, you can't afford to get something else in Burlington. You can't. Do you want to go to Billerica? Do you want to go to Woburn? You know,
Yeah.
you want to stay in the community you've
Especially
always
if
been
you've
in.
been here for, yeah.
You know, and our feeling is you built the town, you deserve to stay in town.
Right.
And we want to help make that happen.
But as you get
But
older, it gets harder to
you
maintain.
sell your home, and if you're trying to get into one of the HUD homes, the 40B apartments,
Okay.
you've sold your home. You don't. Now you're over asset. You're over income.
Okay.
So it's a real barrier, and you have to move into an apartment for a year, and then you can move into one of those.
Oh, yeah.
It's
but
not.
That's a lot of moving
a lot
around
of
for
moving.
anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these apartments they're not meant for people who are low income. They're meant for people who are mid income.
Okay.
I think moderate. They're affordable.
Okay.
The rents are going to be in the mid teens, and they're still going to have to pay for sewer and water and electric and all that. But you're going to use a lot less of it because you're not in a house.
Exactly.
You know, you're not going to. You have people below you, people above you. You're not going to be using the heat that you used in a house with 4 walls. It's 2,000 square feet compared to 1,000 square feet.
Right.
I think one of our biggest tasks is going to be educating people that, yes, it feels really horrible that you're not paying a mortgage and now you're going to be paying close to $2,000 a month for your living expenses.
Right.
But when you look at plowing and just basic
Don't
yard
have to mow the
maintenance,
lawn.
house maintenance, and property taxes, all of that goes away. And if you want to stay in Burlington and you want to stay out of a nursing home or assisted living, which it can be close to $8,000 a month. $2,000 a month isn't so bad.
Exactly.
That's not the rent, so you can control
Right.
some of those other costs. I mean, I think it's like $1,400, $1,600, depends
Okay.
on whether you get a studio, a 1-bedroom, or 2-bedroom. I've been in the apartments that are already built over at Nord Bloom, and they're beautiful. And they're still going to
B News did a story
Yeah.
on.
they're going to be beautiful when they're 20 years old still.
Yeah.
They're not going to look. I don't think they're good. I mean, they'll
They're
get
not
run
gonna-
down, but they're
yeah.
not going to be ugly. There's some great gathering spaces. There's some great outdoor spaces, and they're going to do the same. And you're going to be, living with younger folks too. So you'll have neighbors, and things will be closer.
Right.
So I'm actually I'm looking forward to educating people and having the social worker sit down with them and say, and some maybe consultants as well, sit down with folks and say, look, this is what your expenses are now. This is what your expenses will be, and this is how much money you're going to have in the bank. You can live off some of that savings for a while. I mean, one of the difference between you and I and the older generation, that's their home. That's where they're going to die. Our generation, I think, looks more at it's an investment. It's the biggest investment we make. You have this capital.
Yeah.
Like you can live off your capital.
Right.
And I'm not saying live off your capital by doing reverse mortgages. I'm not fond of those. But
Yeah, those just confuse me.
Yeah.
So let's.
you can sell your house at the end of your before you're unable to take care of that house.
Okay.
Once you can't take care of the house, then you're losing money
Yeah.
because it's not maintained as well.
Right.
If you can sell your house before that point,
Yeah.
at the height of what it's going to be worth.
Okay,
you can
just
live off
a
that for a long
personal question
Mhm.
for me that I'm going to throw in your direction.
Okay.
So I have no idea if you'll be able to answer it or not. But with these, downsizing, selling your home, moving into some of these affordable housing units, is that just for Burlington residents staying in Burlington, or like, let's, for instance, my case. I now consider Burlington my home. I was not born here. I did not grow up here, but I am raising my family here now. I have a house. I want to stay here for the rest of my life. But my parents are getting older. They still have their house. They're at this point now where they really are having a hard time taking care of the house, taking care of the yard. I'd love for them to move closer, but they're not in Burlington. Would they still qualify for?
That's one of the things we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
That's in our we have to decide list.
That's on your agenda. Yeah. Okay.
Now, Grandview Commons,
okay,
the condos, they would qualify because it's a formula.
Okay.
So, you've been in Burlington, 30 years and your income is low,
okay,
and then you're like top of the formula, and
okay,
it goes down the pike. So
okay,
even someone who doesn't live in Burlington
okay,
can get on that. So on June 1st, I could actually get myself on that list.
Is that when your birthday is? June 1st?
June 1st.
Ah. I love those first dates. Okay, I'm a first too. So,
Okay.
I'm October 1st.
Well, there you go.
I love it. Okay, we talked about, the different financial assistance.
Mm-hmm.
What about medical issues and medical plans and medical insurance plan? Do your social workers also help advise about?
The one who is, that would be for Shine.
Okay.
So Brenda Pappas, who
So
is a Shine
okay,
certified, could. Andrea and Audrey will help,
okay,
but they'll often go to Brenda for help because it gets complicated.
It does. That's why I'm like, I don't know.
I've had people come through that are, they
I would be
just
in tears.
retiring, and they're super smart and like, I can't figure this out. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're not the only one. Don't worry, it's not you.
Yeah. Okay, and I did just glance down at my notes, and we only have about 15 minutes left, believe it or not.
Wow.
So I know this is going to be a big one. I think if you had something, you'd probably throw it at me after I ask it. But I've heard a lot of buzz, no pun intended, that the Beeline is moving on. But a lot of seniors rely on public transportation.
So the funny thing
So
is,
what's going on there?
so fewer rely on it than you think. There are a
Okay.
few. There definitely, two right off the top of my head.
Okay.
But ridership had dwindled.
Mm-hmm.
What I hear is 25, or basically 25 people riding it on a regular basis.
That's not a lot.
No, it's not a lot.
No. Okay.
I think people recall, at one point there were 3 buses, and it, went all over
All
Burlington.
over the place.
And a lot of seniors would use the bus. They'd go shopping. They'd go to the mall. They'd come to the senior center. They'd go to Leahy. And I think, I don't know why ridership was dwindling, but it did.
Mm-hmm.
So they went to 2 buses. At that point, it came out of the neighborhoods, and they lost almost all the seniors.
Oh, okay.
And I felt it. It was a tsunami for us, because at that point we started getting a lot more seniors using the bus, our buses.
Now, do your buses have the same routes, or?
We don't have routes.
Oh.
We're on demand.
Oh, well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
We could talk about that later.
yeah, we don't go, we're on a schedule, but it's, you call and say, I want to come to the center, or
Okay.
I have a medical appointment. It's not like the TNCs,
Okay.
transportation network companies, the Ubers and the Lyfts.
I figure something like that.
Yeah. And then it goes down to one bus, and the Beeline is basically not useful anymore to most people. So I think it had passed by me, and I wasn't paying attention because I'm not transportation.
Okay.
I'm certainly not transportation for the town. So a grant opportunity comes by me from Mass DOT, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then a town meeting member sees it and sends it to Paul. Sagarino, our new town
Okay.
administrator. So he sends it to myself and John Sanchez, the DPW director, is like, what about this? So we get together, and he and his person that writes their grants could not attend the training. So I'm like, well, I'm available. I'll do it. Big mistake. I attend their training, and
I'm not responsible for transportation.
and because I was the one that went to training, I'm the one that gets to do the grant.
Lucky you.
I know. So we didn't know what we were doing. We really had no plan, and it was really by the seat of our pants.
Okay.
And
Do you have to do the grant now because you attended the training, or?
no, once you attend, just because you attend, you don't have to
Okay.
write the grant. But we
What have
we
you got
need
to
something
lose?
to do. We need to do something about transportation, because you can't leave these disabled people and the elderly
Okay.
and people who with no access to a car.
You still need to do something for those 25 people that you've
Well,
been helping
and we know there's more,
out. Oh,
right?
okay.
But they're just
Yeah.
not going out probably.
Right.
So, so we put together this grant, and as the questions come up, we're deciding what we want to do. I mean, it's like I'm literally going through the grant, asking questions of like, what do you want to do with that? Okay, I mean, that's what was happening with it.
Well, that's kind of why the grant has these steps, so you do think about all these things instead of them giving you money and you're like, oh, now what?
Yeah. So we get the grant, and
Yay.
it's like, okay, who's going to run this thing?
Well, you went to the training.
Yeah,
Sorry.
pretty much. Well, Mr. Sanchez had a good point. He's DPW. He is not transportation. Why is he? And so why is he really running it? And
Okay.
it does make sense. But then who does run it? We don't really have a department that is. We don't have a transportation department.
Right.
We do not have a department of transportation.
We
So
do now.
We do now.
Her name is Marge.
Yes, pretty much. Yeah. So basically what we'd put together was using the transportation network companies, which are Uber, Lyft, and others.
Those are the big ones.
Yeah. GoGo Grandparent is a concierge service, which uses both of them.
Okay.
So using those to get our rider, those that need rides,
Okay.
our residents from point A to point B, shopping, medical, work,
Okay.
and social. We include social because that's really important if you're,
Well, yeah.
for anybody.
Got to come visit you at the Council on Aging, the
Or
new senior
go
center.
see a friend, or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Meet someone for lunch.
yeah, so we came up with they pay the first $1 of the ride, and then we pay the next $10.
Okay.
So that's the subsidized portion,
Okay.
and then anything over $11 is the responsibility of the rider.
Okay. Seems fair.
Yep. And we tried to break it up into 3 tiers. So some people have applications that say 3 tiers.
Okay.
But when we were talking with Lyft, which is the, who got the contract, they said it's actually easier to do 2 tiers. So you'll either get 35 rides or 50 rides a month. And they don't roll over, so you can't save them.
Okay.
And you can do whatever you want with those rides. And you can, so long as the rides start or end in Burlington.
Okay.
You do need to have either a credit card or a gift card
Okay.
because it's an account, and they pull the money from the account.
Okay.
So, from your credit card
Okay.
for your rides, which I know is really scary for seniors, which is why you can use a gift card. I highly recommend people do not use their debit cards, because that's into your bank, and it's an app on your phone, on your smartphone.
Okay.
And if it gets hacked, that's your debit card. If it's a credit card or a gift card,
Gift
it's much.
card, yeah.
Gift card is just so much money on there.
Right.
A credit card, you call your credit card and company, and they
Yeah.
reimburse you, or they just,
Okay.
that you close your account. So if you do not have a smartphone,
I was going to ask
Yes.
that. You're
because
read
the
my
majority
mind.
of my folks don't have smartphones. GoGo Grandparent, and I believe they're changing their name to GoGo Technologies.
Okay.
Is concierge service. So you basically call up and you say, I need a ride, and they organize it for you. Now, the key to that is it's 27 cents a minute more.
Okay.
So if you get into the car and it's a 10-minute ride, it's going to cost you $2.70 more for that ride. So if the ride is $12 and you're already paying $2, you're still going to pay more.
Okay.
You're going to pay a little bit. You're going to pay that extra, whatever I just said.
Okay.
I only got 4 hours of sleep last night, so my brain's not functioning.
Okay.
But you can still use it and you can still get around.
Okay.
What's great about it is we're not going to tell you we can't pick you up. You're not going to have to wait for us to pick you up, and sometimes that can be a little bit of time.
Okay.
You are, they're going to pick you up at your door. You don't have to walk down to a bus stop. The rain, the snow, the sleet, the hot sun, the cold days, you get picked up at your door. The one thing I ask if anybody's doing this is that especially if it's a negative, I want negative feedback. But I want positive feedback.
You want all feedback.
But if there's a problem, I want to know about it, because we can't fix the problems if we don't know about them.
Exactly. And you'd rather not read about it on social media either.
No, but I mean, because it's when you're just using an app as a regular person, you don't know the background, you don't know who's working for the company, and you don't talk to them, you don't know who they are. We know we do have contacts. Okay. So if we have a problem, I can get in touch with a contact and say we had this issue, and hopefully it can be resolved.
Okay. No, I'm just,
let me just add.
Yes.
Really quick.
There's more.
Carlisle,
take your time.
Carlisle has done this, and they have 55 people signed up for it. And,
wow.
But they're a small town, and it's.
But you have to sign up in advance for this so you could get the.
Yes, you have to fill out an application. We are one of the first towns to do this program. Oh, wow. Which is one of the problems and why we need a pilot, because we don't have any best practices to draw from. Watertown is literally 2 weeks behind us. Oh. And I just had a conversation with them yesterday. And we're probably going to draw from each other a lot.
I was about to say, can you tag team?
Yeah, there's no reason anybody has to do this alone, or nor should we.
I'm like, okay, 2 weeks really isn't that much in the scheme of life.
Yeah, no, so we're pretty much going to be holding hands doing it, which is cool. But they're much bigger than us.
They are.
But I already have 11 applications.
Wow.
And we're not even live yet. Okay. So I'm really excited.
Now, are you limited in the number of applications?
Not at this point.
Not
at this point. We have a good chunk of change.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, since this is a grant, is this a 1-year grant?
It is a 1-year grant. Okay. What I was told when we were doing the training is that if you are awarded the grant and it goes well, you will most likely get it the next year as well. It will be, they'll reward.
But if you fail miserably, which you won't.
No, we're not going to fail miserably because we're Burlington. We don't fail.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're going to show the state how it's done.
Got to show. Going to lead the way.
And we'll tweak things. I've already tweaked a couple of things, so on the application. You're just as I go, if I find a problem, we'll tweak it and move on.
Now with the application, you're like tweaking things, but the application was to get the grant. Now that you have the grant.
No, I mean the application for people to sign up for the program.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought like you had to give a written report to.
I do at some point, yeah.
Okay.
And we also have to give a report to town meeting in May on how it's going. So
will it go live by May?
Oh, it's supposed to go live Monday.
Monday. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I'm out of touch.
We have not advertised it. It's a buzz. We talked about it at town meeting because we have to.
Because you have to.
And then the newspapers picked it up, but I haven't done any advertising at all. They actually asked me in the phone call yesterday, "What are you doing for advertising and marketing?" I said, "I've done nothing. I have not touched."
And you still have 11 applicants.
Yeah, I haven't had to go there yet. So, but I will. I will market it.
Well, plus once it goes live, people are going to start,
working on a brochure right now. So
fun.
But hopefully, because the Board of Health has a health fair at the end of March, so I have to have it ready by then. But
the brochure.
The brochure.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I haven't had to do much. I mean, I talk about it a lot, but I haven't actually had to go out and push it.
Well, you could do a little PSA commercial. Well, I don't know if BCAT can do commercials.
No, but they can do a PSA.
It's a service.
Yeah.
There you go. Mm-hmm. It's a public service announcement. Yeah. Take advantage of this new. Mm-hmm. All right. Other than the new transportation, what do you hope for either the Senior Center or Council on Aging in the next 5 years? Where?
Oh my gosh, more room. No, I'm kidding. Well, not only kind of, sort of kidding. I'm going to need more staff. Actually, I had a selectman meeting Monday, and that was kind of asked of me about staffing.
Okay.
I'm think I probably need, and I don't know how far it'll take me, but I think I probably need 3 full-time outreach workers and a activity person.
Well, you already have an activity person. You can just pay her
The
now.
volunteer, I know. But you know, there's always that fear if she gets sick or something happens. You know, she's, you know, it's a volunteer position. If she what?
If she gets bored.
Yeah, exactly. Or if somebody makes her angry and walks off.
Yeah.
I have no idea. You know, when you pay someone, you have more control over
over their
actions.
You have that commitment.
Too. Yeah.
Okay.
Not that. Well, I mean, sometimes you have more commitment from the volunteers.
Sometimes.
Yeah. But I think it needs to be something that is a paid position that has, because there are certifications that go with being an activity director or program director or coordinator. They have all sorts of certifications and courses you can take. So I think having it, that would be a better way. You know, and then you have somebody who's sitting in the office and they can do some of the things that I do, you know, which is scheduling cultural activities and organizing, you know, parties and parties sounds frivolous, but when we have events, you know, you have a social. So one of our most popular things to do is to have an ice cream social every month. They come in.
Build your own Sundays. So, yeah, sign me up.
So they come in and sometimes they will stay for 3 hours talking, just talking. And it's just an excuse to bring them in so they can talk and gather.
Yeah. And it works, apparently.
And social activity is extremely important. And, you know, it gets people engaged and involved. And it gives us a chance to eyeball what's going on with people, right? I mean, are they okay? Are they cognitively okay? Are they physically okay? Do we need to intervene in some way?
Or if people don't show up, you know, if they start showing up and then stop showing up.
Right, exactly.
So do you take attendance at these things?
Oh, yeah. Yes, we have attendance. We have a computer system for people to check in with. So, and we use that quite a bit. If we're like all of a sudden we're like, oh, well, we haven't seen so-and-so in a while, we can check and see when they last checked in. So that's really important.
They have like little ID cards.
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, when we first got it, some of them were pretty terrified of it. It was really cute. But
they were terrified. It was great.
But any reason to bring them in is it's social services. Yeah. It really is. It seems like fun and games, and I've literally had people donate money and say, I don't want this going to parties. But parties are social services for us. You know, it's how it's how I have a good time. But it's how the social workers...
Brings you back to your internship days.
Yes. It's how the social workers just make sure everyone's okay.
Yeah.
And, you know, make sure that we can intervene, like I said, when it's needed.
Cool. And you know what?
What? We're out of time.
We're out of time. So thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
And I love hearing your stories.
Thank
you.
And
I love finding out what's going on around town. Thanks. Which is the only reason why my husband lets me come to BCAT is because I get to find out what's going on.
You can come home with the gossip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I want to thank everyone at home for tuning in this evening. I hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as I did. And I hope that maybe you might start considering heading over toward the Council on Aging and giving them a hand and checking out some of the awesome stuff that they have going on. So anyway, thank you very much for tuning in. Have a wonderful evening, and I will see you around town. Good night.